Okay, just to give you a quick overview of the machine to understand what you're looking at and where everything is, I'm going to go around the machine and explain it. This hose is the inlet hose to fill the Part A tank. You can see that it's connected to the diaphragm pump over here. The diaphragm pump will go into part, if you use a drum with your product, the Part A, obviously it's going to have to be heated some way, which this really needs to be a heated hose. So that connecting into the top of the tank is the fill line for that. This is the fill line for Part B. Part B will fill in the tank here. And there again, if you notice that these tanks have level sensors on the top. The level sensors obviously will turn these on. When you turn these on, I'll show you how to turn them on the screen later. But when you start pumping it, they obviously have to know when to turn off. So the level sensors are right here. This is the level sensor here. This is the level sensor for Part B. And they will, when you turn them on, they'll turn themselves off. Now, what I want to explain is these connections. These connections right here feeds the signals back to the PLC, that's telling everything what's going on there. The level sensor plug is here for the Part A. The level sensor for Part B is here. This is the plug for the heated hose that's going to the mix head. And this is the pressure transducers that goes to the mix head as well. While we're talking about the mix head, let's go look at the mix head. We put the mix head inside of a box here, and the reason is it's pulling the heat from inside the cabinet that keeps it warm. It keeps it up to kind of keeps it up to about 70 or 80 degrees. The pressure transducers that's registering the pressure in your mold, this is what turns the system off when it sees the discharge pressure going through the mixer. These valves will close and it holds the pressure. When you want to shoot some more product, you push the button on the screen and now the product goes through the mixer. We have made up a temporary mold, something to pressurize to demonstrate a mold. We'll pump into that, and it's got a small weep hole on the end so we can shoot some shots and also pressurize the system. This is your nitrogen connection. It's got a nitrogen gauge on it. You can turn it on and off here. Obviously, you can go as high as you want on that, but you really don't, to me, don't really need high pressure on this. These are desiccant dryers. The tanks obviously have to vent themselves, so this will probably vent itself with the nitrogen pressure. This is a desiccant dryer for Part B. That'll pressurize that. Okay, coming back and looking at the back of the machine. You'll notice the three-way valves right here. The three-way valves have indicating globes that tells you the directional flow. It's all pneumatic and it's all operated by air. This is the motor drives Part A pump, Part B pump. Going to the other part of the unique parts you need, we have an air supply. We typically run at about 80 psi on the system. That's pretty much just switching the valves off and on. This is the foot switch that when you want to start your shot, you push that part of it. The screen is all touch screen. The system's window. This is how you will operate everything from this part of it. It has a manual function and an auto. Auto is letting it run and it's watching the flow rates and it's letting the make sure it's maintaining ratio. The flow meter acts like a watchdog. The pump is accurate plus or minus 1%, but the flow rate is actually showing you the actual flow rate. These are your set points. This is the total flow rate. The total shot flow rate as it's running is 1,200 grams a minute. That's divided up by the ratio put in the machine. It takes that number and divides it to this. This is the set point for each pump. This is the flow rate that's actually registering by the flow meter. If the flow meter doesn't see those set points, it's going to shut the system down. One thing to note here, when you're looking at the system screen, anything you turn on this screen, you turn on two. In other words, if I turn this pump on, I will turn on two pumps. If I switch this valve, I will switch two valves. So we'll go through the operation about how that goes through in a minute, but just keep in mind the systems window. It's in the manual mode right now, and what that means is that turns off all your alarms, so that if you want to run one pump at a time, say the resin pump, I can just run it by turning it on by itself. That lets you do maintenance on the machine, because when When it's an automatic, if it doesn't see both pumps running at the ratio, it's going to keep shutting it down and alarming. So we give you a manual off function so that you can go work on this, clean it out, purge it out, do whatever you want to, just check it. You can also do the curing agent, same way. Anytime you want to know what these are, you come in here, push menu, it'll show you the pump's usage, it'll tell you the usage rate that you went through. Setup. Setup window is typically in a locked out, it's a password protected screen. So we go into the setup window, it's a password code, you touch the center, keypad pops up, push into 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter it. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice on the setup window, it's got a high pressure shutdown of 400 psi. That's a high pressure that we put in the system in case it goes there. You can change that to whatever you want to. You can change it to 600 just by going into the screen. You can go to 500 just by changing that if you want that to shut down either way. We typically in this system you'd be able to easily run it probably 4 to 5 at a maximum pressure. Okay, the ratio is set up 100 parts to 26 parts. So that can be changed as well. Just put the numbers in you're looking for. This shows anti-gel function, and what that means is right now it's set up, and if you have not shot a shot in 5 minutes, within 5 minutes it's going to shoot one for 10 seconds. It's going to shoot a shot for 10 seconds. It's going to do that every 5 minutes. That's why when you finish with the mold, you should put it in a box, put it in something, a waste can. It's got a number of recipes that's stored in it. It's 12. The resin line temperature, this is where you change the temperature if you want to change it to 120. Okay, I changed it to 100. You can change it to anything you want. This is the way you set your temperature functions. This is the fill level. This is telling you how much it fills up each time. If you get out, you log out. If somebody tries to go back in there, they can't get in unless they know the password. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So go back to the systems window. To turn the heat on and off, you turn it on. You've got your temperature set. You turn it off that way. You turn it on this way. You turn the pump on. You turn it on this way. It starts up in recirculation. We'll do that in just a minute. And when we've got to put the product in it first, we'll start that up and get it going in recirculation, and you'll see the flow meters come up. So right now we're going to pour part A in there. We've been heating part A for about several hours, so it's very liquid, it's ready to pour. So now we'll pour the product into, we got the cabinet temperature up to 150 degrees, so now we will go pour part A into the tanks.